by virtue of North Carolina General Statute 68-20. The Sheriff of Durham County will offer for sale to the highest bidder for cash at the time of sale one male gray in color potbelly pig, same having been impounded by the Sheriff of Durham County on August 26th, and no one have coming forward to claim the ownership of the 325?
Yep.
Okay, 350. All right, 375.
Yes.
400. All right, we have a bid of 450 on the table. 450 going once, 450 going twice. Sold for 450. This people right here, lady right here. What's your name, ma'am?
Lexi.
Lexi?
All right, we're here with Captain Deck, and it was a pretty surprising auction over here this morning, huh?
Absolutely. I don't think I've ever had an animal, let alone a pig, go for that high. Usually it's in the 100 to 150 range, but this little guy went for $450 today. So a lot of people out there wanted to make sure he got into a good home.
Mm-hmm. We wanted to make sure he was safe and, more importantly, spayed and neutered. Mm-hmm. So we can make sure that there's no babies, and then make sure that an appropriate adopter would be found that, is zoned or able to care for a pig.
Yeah, and I overheard you saying you have a pig sanctuary or something.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
Pearls Preserve is home to about 90 pigs.
Mm-hmm.
So we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Can be found on Facebook. And we specialize in sanctuary and lifetime care for pigs. Open up. There you go. We got some grass for the road.
Operation Lifesaver's mission is to live up to its name. Since 1972, we've been the nonprofit rail safety education organization of people dedicated to eliminating death and injuries around railroad tracks and trains. All across our country for almost 4 decades, Operation Lifesaver's trained network of volunteer presenters are working proudly in communities like yours. Our safety message is delivered to thousands of people yearly, reminding them about the dangers always present near trains and train tracks, and offering them safe ways to navigate across highway-rail intersections. Operation Lifesaver presenters have reached people all across the United States, from civic groups, town assemblies, trade shows, youth programs, community events and fairs, and many, many other groups where we live, work, and play. Our presenters have been spreading a rail safety message for the benefit of all of us. We've seen an 80% drop in vehicle train incidents since Operation Lifesaver began its work. But there are challenges on the horizon. There are more injuries and fatalities involving trespassers than vehicle-train collisions. Trespassers include both people walking on or near the tracks, as well as riding trains illegally. This becomes more crucial as train traffic in America is expected to nearly double by 2035. As the 21st century surges, rail travel is the fastest growth area in public transportation. Whether it's freight, passenger, or high-speed rail, the public will be experiencing more train traffic than ever before, and the safety challenges with that increase will require even greater public attention. Most of us don't realize that trains are wider and faster than they look, closer than they appear, and at 12 million pounds can take 18 football fields to come to a stop. That's a mile or more, and today's high-tech distractions wreak havoc in train incidents. Over 140,000 miles of crisscrossing track is traversed daily by texting teens, MP3 pedestrians, mobile technology drivers, and smartphone commuters. Modern life picks up the pace for all drivers, no matter whether they're beginning or experienced. Professional truck drivers or school bus drivers, EMS responders or law enforcement officers. And pedestrians trespassing on the tracks may think they've found a shortcut to their destination, but what they're more likely to find is disaster. The risks are all too real, and the success of our mission is up to each of us. Operation Lifesaver's presenters are personally dedicated to getting the safety message out across all 50 states. The difference starts with you.
Never gonna let you go, babe, I'm never gonna let you go. Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 mile per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
What we're doing today is doing a controlled burn on narcotics that we've been authorized to destroy by the court system. And what we're doing this through is what we call a drug terminator. These are bricks of marijuana. We have bricks of heroin as well, and cocaine. So, like I say, we're in the process of destroying those. What we have to do is basically put them inside a paper bag, and we'll close them up. And we'll drop them inside this container. Then we'll put them inside the drug terminator. Basically the process. This thing will burn a couple of 1,000 degrees, so it's burning everything. We drop pills in, like cocaine, heroin, a lot of marijuana, and that's the process.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Mandy Cohen, Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. As we begin to venture out again, help protect your family and neighbors from COVID-19 by practicing your 3 W's. Wear a cloth face covering, wait 6 feet apart, wash your hands often, or use hand sanitizer. Wear, wait, wash. We're all in this together. Stay strong, North Carolina.
First of the year, our ordinance changed from the distance that you have to be from a building, and that building can include a house, a place of gathering, a church, a business. Also includes domestic livestock that's not your own. So it makes it a little bit more restrictive of where you can be from an area to shoot. Also, we always know that there's no shooting on, or no target shooting on game lands or inside the city limits. So if you are going to go in an area to shoot that's met the requirements from the structures and you have a positive place for the rounds to stop in, make sure that you are in an area that you're not trespassing, or it's an area that you have permission to be on. That's one of the complaints we get, that sometimes when people go into a woods and they think it's an unoccupied area and it's actually somebody's land. Always need to have a positive place to, or an area to stop the rounds and bullets. If you are shooting inside the county area, that you have an area where the bullets will stop in, and that you can get more information from the National Rifle Association on their website. It gives you more information what the criteria for a positive burn is. And it's always important to remember the four cardinal rules of gun safety. Treat every weapon as if it's loaded. Never point a weapon at anybody that you don't intend to shoot. Keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot, and always know what lies in front and behind your target. They can always call the Sheriff's Office, our number, the 560-0900 number, and report it. Again, the deputy will come out there and investigate to see if they're following the ordinance. A lot of times, by the time we get there, the shots have stopped, or sometimes if it's in the woods, it's maybe hard to locate. We can always speak to the residents, try to get more information, and at least do a follow-up on it. It's always recommended that you, if you are going to shoot firearms, that before you buy a firearm, to have some type of training is always important. And you can usually get that from the places you buy. There's classes that you can take, but it's always important, again, to always treat our weapons as if they are loaded, and just treat them with respect, and have a safe area to practice and train in.
As the nation's doctor, I often get asked, what should I do if I think I might have coronavirus?
People who are sick should stay home. You don't go to an emergency room, you don't go to a clinic. You get on the phone and you ask for advice and instructions from your physician.
We don't want you to go into the ER or the doctor's office without talking to them first, because you might spread coronavirus to someone else. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
The writ of possession is at the very end. All of this starts with, one, in the case of rent not being paid, the rent isn't paid. There's some communications going between the landlord and the tenant about, hey, where's my rent? And then you get this notice to vacate, and then once you don't vacate, the landlord can go and file a summary ejectment proceeding, which is another way of saying filing a court case against you, saying you owe me this money, you have not paid your rent, I want you evicted out of my property. And usually that's going to be in small claims court before a magistrate.
Well, your rent notice is basically a magistrate summons with a complaint and summary ejectment attached to it. That comes from the clerk's office to the sheriff's office, and what that is basically the notification for the hearing for the landlord to start the procedure to get their property back. We'll receive those from the clerk's office. The deputies will take those, and they will attempt to make contact with the defendant or defendants that's listed on the magistrate summons. If we can't make contact, we will post, as statute allows, for the court date. And once that is returned, they have been served for their court date. Once we've served it, they'll have to call the court. If they don't understand something about it, that would fall more under calling the clerk's office to find out if there's any discrepancy about the court date, or if there's any problem that they may have with the court date. They would need to contact the clerk's office, because we're actually just serving notice of the court date.
That's the first part where we're involved. Only thing we're doing is serving the paperwork, just like any other lawsuit. Then you go before the magistrate, the landlord presents evidence, you can present evidence, or the renter can present evidence, a decision is entered. You have a right to appeal that decision to the district court. If you appeal it, there's some procedures involved with that. And then if you lose that appeal, or if you don't appeal it or contest it, what you're going to have is a judgment being entered against you. And that's when the writ of possession comes involved.
Once the sheriff's office receives the writ of possession for real property, the first thing that's done is a notification will be sent out of the date of the eviction to the defendant or the defendants. Second thing we do is we're going to notify the plaintiff of the date and time that we'll be out there to facilitate the padlock. Once the deputy arrives on scene, the property will be taken from the defendant, turned over to the plaintiff. The defendant will be served the paperwork if they're there, but we're there to take custody of the property from the defendant and turn it back over to the plaintiff as the court has ordered.
Really, the legal process is the entire court case before writ of possession is requested by a landlord and delivered to the sheriff for execution. Writ of possession is basically carrying out the judgment of a court. Just like if you were sued for a motor vehicle accident or some other small claims proceeding, when the judge enters a decision, it becomes a judgment, and then you go collect on the judgment. And then once it is issued by the clerk of court, it's delivered to the sheriff for execution. The reason why the sheriff's office is involved is because when someone is moved out of their property, it's a very tense situation, and the sheriff is involved to make sure that it's a peaceful transfer of property.
As in all civil process, the sheriff's office is just enforcing the court order. The court order is that the plaintiff is to receive their property back. The deputy will go out there, the property will be taken out of the defendant's possession, placed back with the plaintiff as the court has ordered, and we're there to also make sure that that's a peaceful transition during that process.
But the law requires the sheriff to do this, and in fact, if the sheriff doesn't do it, he could be sued. So you should really take some steps right at the beginning of all of this when you first have difficulty with paying your rent. Because when it gets to the sheriff's office, it's too late. So what can you do? In several communities throughout the state of North Carolina, including Durham, there are rent assistance programs. North Carolina, along with the United Way, has developed what's called NC 211. If you pick up the phone and dial 211, you're connected to a resource hotline, and you can tell them what your problems are, whether it's paying rent, paying your mortgage, making utility payments, need of food, and they can connect you with resources in your community. Here in Durham, you have the legal clinic at North Carolina Central. You may also have law clinics over at UNC, Duke, over in Raleigh at Campbell, where you can get some free legal advice. You have Legal Aid of North Carolina, but if you go to their website, they have literature on there on what the eviction process is, what is a summary ejectment, what you should present to court. Can you get out of it? Can you pay your rent? Can you settle this? What to do if you want to get into a settlement. Here at the sheriff's office, we know about the process, but we can't give you legal advice. State government is well aware of the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on individuals, and so there's some relief efforts being made. And so really what I'm saying is that the solution to a lot of this is before you get to the writ of possession. There are community organizations out there that will help you with rent assistance. The General Assembly, which is our state legislature, is looking at some solutions. Our local officials may be looking at some solutions. Churches may be available. So when you get into that situation of not being able to pay your rent, making utility payments, not being able to put food on your table, oftentimes we panic, we become concerned, and that is the moment where you don't close yourself in. That's when you need to go ahead and ask for the help that may be out there. Because if you act quickly and at the beginning of the process, you won't get into the court system and you wind up staying in your home. Because by the time it gets to the sheriff's office with the writ of possession, there's not much, if anything, that can be done, and our hands are tied.
If you love them enough to pull an all-night baking session, enough to take last-minute requests, enough to ride the merry-go-round again and again, or enough to let them win. Then surely you will check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they are in the right car seat.
Durham County Sheriff's Office, where's your emergency? Okay, we'll get deputies on the way.
y'all doing this morning? Come on through.
I'm Durham County Sheriff Clarence Burkhead, and we want you to join our team. Honor, duty, service. If you have what it takes, our recruiting starts now.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Last year, here at Alliance, we trained over 200 first responders in CIT training.
Unfortunately, a lot of the individuals that we deal with on a daily basis suffer from either an addiction or mental illness. Having deputies and officers trained to understand those signs, to understand how to comfort those individuals and de-escalate whatever anxieties they're feeling is critical.
Not every day a citizen is going to be having a good day. Sometimes they're going to be in crisis. And we want to teach them how to eradicate the stigma and be able to help people so that whatever situation they are placed in is not such a traumatizing event.
It's being able to talk to them, try to empathize with them and relate to them at some point. Sometimes it's just a matter of being heard. To really know that we're not here against them, but we're here with them.
So I work on patrol, and I know a lot of people think that, you know, you work on patrol, the first thing you want to do is arrest somebody. But if I step back out of that, you know, this person committed a crime type of mentality, then I go back into, okay, well, what's really going on here? Am I going to have to deal with this person again? Is this person going through something else? Are they having a crisis? Are they upset? Are they just having a bad day? Or is there a bigger issue that's going on? So being on patrol, sometimes I step out of myself and say, okay, how can I help you? What do you really need? And then maybe the best option is for them to go talk to somebody. Maybe they just need a hug that day. I have given out plenty of hugs, and it has come back to me that people say, oh, you know what, that day you talked to me and you gave me a hug and it really helped me.
I took away from it was not only am I dealing with public or detainees, is what I've learned within myself. The instructors were wonderful. They kind of went into their backstories on what they've gone through. So it's not even just about the public or citizens, it's about us as officers, because we have to go through some of this stuff as well. So we're learning what we can do. And not only is there resources for the civilians, there's resources for us as officers.
A lady was going through a crisis. She had on a robe, she had on shorts and bedroom shoes, and this is in the middle of the day at the bus stop just walking around, and she was saying the most craziest stuff that a normal person wouldn't say, but you wouldn't realize unless you kind of like are attentive to that or what's going on, that she needed something else at that time. So that day she was kind of combative. She was running in front of a city bus. So to me, that's extreme. That's an emergency. She might try to kill herself. She can put other people in danger as well, because everybody was trying to stop to not hit her. took her to the hospital that day, and I remember going to the hospital and talking to her about taking her shoes off, because the nursing staff needed her to take her shoes off, and she didn't want to do it. So I found a way to find something on her that she liked. I saw that she liked the color pink, and I'm like, hey, you like the color pink? Look at this bag. This bag is pink. Let's put your shoes in this bag because it's your favorite color. And I could see how the nursing staff was looking at me like, oh wow, she really knows how to talk to the lady. So fast forward, I seen that same lady that I helped that day like a couple of months later, and it was her birthday. She said, my birthday's coming up, and I just want to tell you thank you that you really helped me that day, which helps build a relationship with the community as well, because everybody out there saw that I helped her. So a lot of people come to me and say, oh, remember that day you helped that lady? So now they already know, okay, the officers are trained to deal with this kind of situation. So if I have to go through this situation, or somebody I love goes through this situation, then I know they will help me.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove. You told me not to do drugs. You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
To keep things from being stolen from your vehicle, don't leave them in your vehicle. Simple, easy preventive measures. Don't leave your items overnight, during the day, 5-10 minutes. Take them in the house, take them in the building, into your office. Just make sure they're secure somewhere else besides your vehicle. If you have to leave something in your car, secure it in your trunk. It's less likely to be seen through a window. If you can't secure it in your trunk, most people have a locking glove box. Put it inside of your glove box that locks, or your center console. Not all of them locked, but at least it's not out in the open, visible, where anyone can walk by and see it. They're looking for easy grabs, book bags, purses. For some reason, people leave laptops, MP3s. They look for weapons. They know people leave weapons in the car. So if you have to leave a weapon in your car, they make boxes where you can securely lock your weapon in the vehicle, unseen. You can always call the police, reference suspicious activity or suspicious person. Do not approach them yourselves. You never know if they're armed or what their intentions may be. Before you go through it, call the police first. Hopefully they're able to get fingerprints off of it, but call the police before you go through your vehicle. If it appears that they've gotten in, 9 times out of 10, they probably did get in and just didn't see anything worth taking. A lot of heavy equipment, especially for construction, is kind of hard to take in and out. If you can secure it down, get lock boxes. A lot of trucks offer toolboxes, lock boxes. If it's big items, get chains. Find ways to secure it down with chains. If you can and you're not able to, then one of the best things you can do is make sure that you have these serial numbers so that if they do get stolen, they can be located if they're pawned or stolen or sold to someone else. Put it up, put it away, keep it out of the public's eye.